This conference will now be recorded.
This is the work session. Today's date is May 22nd and the time is 8:34. I will notice that there is a quorum present, Commissioner Menchaca, Commissioner Dueñas, myself, Commissioner Santos, and appearing via go-to meetings is Commissioner Martinez, and I believe Commissioner Sanchez is on?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Leroy, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I could.
Okay, so we'll report that we are having issues with our live streaming, but we'll go ahead and proceed with the meeting. The meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the website. All right, John B., go ahead, let's get started.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. I have three resolutions for your consideration. Actually, for consideration in next week's regular CC meeting being on Tuesday. The first item is Resolution 2025-17, and this is relative to authorizing the management of One Power Authority to petition the PUC to adjust the levelized energy adjustment clause for the period of August 1st through January 31st, 2026. And again, the objective is on this, Mr. Chair, is to meet the June 15, 2025 requirement by of the PUC to have the filing completed. And it's always a happy moment when GPA can recommend what it is recommending today, Mr. Chair, and that is to propose to a two-step reduction of the LEAC factor to deliver immediate savings and relief to our ratepayers. No? The rate reduction stems from Okudu power plant's efficiency, change in fuel prices, and again the overall plan, the implementation of the overall plan that is coming to fruition with the completion of the Okudu power plant by September, and in fact will be operating earlier than that if our request for an ECA amendment is approved, which is the next resolution. So the first step is really to drop the LEAC from the current about 20.8 cents a kilowatt hours to 18.8 cents per 18.8781 cents per kilowatt hour, effective August 1st to August 31st. And again, and I'm going from there. The second step was to drop the LEAC to 13.5840 effective September 1st, 2025 through January 31st, 2026. Our request is such because, as we all know, we'll be filing the petition to the PUC, which includes both the reduction of the LEAC and also the adjustment increase of the base rate to pay for the Okudu power plant. And the combination of the both will result in still savings to the ratepayers. And so, being that, of course, this abnormality of or if you were conditioned as such that is 1 month difference, we thought we'll go ahead and take this opportunity to at least start providing the savings that we had hoped that we had wanted to provide on September 1st. Again, the Morgan Stanley is looking at fuel oil being around about $89, $90 a barrel coming for the period ending January 31st.
$80 per barrel.
89, $90 a barrel, yeah, which is good. And again, it's been staying there, and hopefully it stays there. But I will also show you here what could happen if it goes the other way.
65.
The good news is that, and again, the plan will show that everything that we've been doing is now to hedge and to keep these numbers around a certain range so that we don't go back to the 40 cents a kilowatt hour that we did go to, and in fact Hawaii and others are still experiencing. So here again, just very quickly on the presentation on the LEAC. the fuel oil prices, this is for RFO, again, it's coming down and it's level, just starting to level a little bit, it's kind of been staying here for the past 2-3 weeks. Next, the same thing with diesel, as you can see, right here. Next, this is the power projection that is used by both, required by the PUC protocol to base our assumption, base our projections of fuel costs. Next, kind of levelized off throughout the period. This is our REAC, as you can see how high we went to about 31 cents, 30.1 cents a kilowatt hour. To where it is 20. Again, it was at 26 on January 31st. We dropped it to 20.8 on February 1st. No? Next. The other recovery, as can be seen here now, it's such that we'll be over recovering some money on ending July 31st. So now we'll balance that out with the rest of 2025. Our estimate is that the under recovery, the over recovery will be about 1.7. So all the 40 some million dollars that we had, fronted is now going to come back in. Again, it was a step, we stepped it up in providing it to our ratepayers to alleviate the increases of prices. We have stepped it again in the recovery process. Next.
So JB, what's our over recovery at the year to date since we're already at May?
As of April 31st, April 30th, the over recovery is about $1 million.
Okay.
So here's the, with our proposal, right now here it is, February to July, it's 20.8802. We're recommending to drop it to 18.8781 beginning August 1st, and then on September 1st to drop it to 13.58 for the fuel component of the bill. Of course, some of that on the total bill will be an adjustment, which is to increase the base rate to be able to pay for the new power plant, which is going to give us 13 cents a kilowatt hour per kilowatt hour. Next. So what does it look in the average residential customer for 1,000 kilowatt hour? Again, on February 1st, we dropped it, we call it, the bill went down to $306. On August 1st, we go down to about $286 for the average residential, which is about a 7% decrease on the total. 7% decrease, 6.54% decrease on the total bill. And then the September 1st, which is again 1 month after, we drop another $22 per month, which is an additional 7.78. So between now and then, we'll be dropping the total about for residential about 14, a little over 14% from where it is today. Next. So Schedule G, again, similarly, the percentages are, some are anywhere between 10 to 15% for all the rate classes. There's a difference for everyone. Everything is a decrease for all the classes. Next. J classes, again, there's 14, almost 15%. Next. This is all B class, which is about 9.
Is this hotels, John?
Yes, hotels.
Thank you.
Next. So again, that's the our proposal, Mr. Chair, and again, because it's August and September, we start to give some back, and then, so that September, it is a happy moment for everyone, and the total bill is still lower with the adjustment of the rate, because again, we have to pay for the power plant to be able to get this savings. So the net result is from today, about close to 15% savings on the total bill for the customers.
Good job, John. And I just, is there a reason why we're still paying over $20 more than what the U.S. is getting per barrel? It's at $65 per barrel for the U.S. And
I don't know where, no,
it's the president of the United States that mentions those things.
I don't think that's what I see. I know, I'm
I
not the
think we're
president,
closer.
but I'm
No,
telling
it's
you,
Trump's announcement that that's what we're getting, at least in the U.S. But
no, we're not getting, the world name, the market, even maybe I'm sorry, he may be pointing to a particular area, but if you look May at the benchmarks, which is WTI and Brent fuel, they're still around the 60. I'm sorry, um, that's the unrefined product. So when you have a refining of the product, the costs are higher. So like for example, a $60 a barrel WTI, in the benchmark is resulting with us having an $89 a barrel fuel. So as that moves up or down, our 89 moves up and down because all the other ones are shipment, no?
yeah,
Refinement of the product from the crude oil. They refine that, and they'll have this no cost. So so here, if it's talking about 60 some dollars a barrel on the benchmark, that's for the raw crude before everything else. But it won't be, it'll never translate to $60 a barrel to
all
us.
year. But we're a little closer to the supply out here though,
Yeah,
than
but,
if we bring it from the U.S.
yeah, but it's a benchmark throughout the world that's used. They call it the planogram benchmark. Everyone picks their fuel to that. Everyone that sells fuel, they peg it to that. And that's pretty
That's
consistent.
good to keep an eye on there because that, like I said, I think the prices of barrel going down, and it's nice that the U.S. is fighting towards a
Yeah.
low rate. It's a big dramatic change from the last administration, but that was mentioned all throughout the news. And so I thought we will be tasting some of those, blessings on our way, and it will change dramatically if the fuel cost goes down on these numbers.
Uh, the let me put this way. There was one time that the products went down to if I recall about 40 some dollars a barrel, and that was like for a couple of weeks. That was after COVID when the demand really went down and then came back up. Under normal or even low price situation, what I've seen for us is somewhere around the 80, $85 a barrel. But again, that 60 you're talking about has to go down to 50 or 40 before we get 85, because we have to pay for the shipment, and then we also have to pay for because the fuel we're using is a much cleaner and a much refined fuel. It's diesel fuel oil, not heavy oil. If you look at today, our diesel fuel is about say 90, no? The heavy oil that we're buying for Cabras 1 and 2 is about 100 to $105 a barrel. It's always like a $15 to $25 differential between the heavy oil, which is the bottom after you refine all the products. That's the bottom that they sell, no? And that's which is supposed to be cheaper and everything, but in our case, because we are required to have clean air, US EPA, then that's where. Okay.
Okay, good, but the U.S. has a very high standard on the refining, but they seem to be pumping a lot, and the requirement to pump is very, very open right now. So there seem to be, things that's happening in the oil that they will go down in prices.
Yep, I hope
Yes.
so.
John, the proposed LEAC at 18 cents in August, and then the reduction to 13 in September. Which one of those are revenue neutral on the LEAC recovery?
Both of them are,
They're revenue neutral,
yes.
so there's no over or under recovery?
Oh,
At the
well,
end of the period.
yeah, we're trying to levelize it, to be, we're trying to be revenue neutral as possible.
So at 18 cents, you're neither under recovering or over recovering?
Yeah, that's the plan.
But currently we're over.
Yeah, we're
Is that
over
what you're saying?
about
You,
a
you,
million.
yeah, because this,
Yeah.
you're right, because this is the period, August 1st through the 31st. So the dual plan of going to 18 and then to 13 will result with about, I remember seeing about $400,000.
Over?
Is it over, John, or under, right? I think over, maybe, right at the,
Revenue neutral?
yeah. So it's about revenue neutral at 400K. No, it's just a,
So we're gonna have a balance over recovery of roughly 2 million, 2.1 million, right around September.
yeah, but then we forecasted that out all the way to January 31st. Because the difference is cameras 1 and 2 will continue to operate. We have to burn out all the RFO, and that's not going to happen until the end of December or first week of January. After that, then everything now will be just the efficiency and the lower cost of the fuel. So from the period February 1st to July 31st of next year, if everything else holds, if oil prices don't go up or whatever, we should see some adjustment again. Because the prices,
Downward adjustment?
yeah, because the efficiency, yeah, down, because the efficiency now cappers is costing more.
Right.
It's gonna go away, and then that production will be taken up by the new combined cycle, which is more efficient. So there will be some incremental adjustment. Yeah. If the prices don't jump the other way.
Yep.
John, walk us through the monthly base rate charge, because as I look through the schedules, right, starting on page 13, we look at the residential, the base rate will go from 15 to 20 on Schedule R. Schedule G is 14 to $19.25. Schedule J is 38 to 52. And then the highest jump I see is Schedule P, which is 60 to 80. So those are all the base rate requests, right? And that is going in together with the LEAC or separate from the LEAC?
Oh, yes, those, the LEA we had to file separately because it's due.
Yeah,
it's due, yeah.
and then
The,
the base rate is?
Yes, the base rate, we did an advertisement back in early February, around February.
Right.
Yes, so the requirement is 90 days. Within that, we also had to do the
From May,
public,
June.
yeah.
Okay.
So we also had to do the public notices and flyers. So we met the requirement. We also had to add it to the website notices. So we all did that last month. So since it's 30 days requirement, because of the 90-day requirement, we will be filing to the PUC petition in June 5th.
Now, the PUC then also will do their own public hearings?
Yes.
They have their own? Okay.
Yes, the requirement is that the PUC have to do the village outreach. Yes.
We will join them for that.
Yes. So that's why we're looking at September 1 as the projected start date for the base rate.
Yes.
That's about the time we start paying for people. So that's where
Correct.
we're.
Notwithstanding the request to start early.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, colleagues? All right, next resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next resolution is related to authorizing GPA to amend the Ukudu Power Plant ECA agreement for additional energy support services through testing. This resolution, again, if you look at the CCU approved in the last board meeting, CCU meeting, for us to petition the PUC to provide the additional testing period. which will result in us having an additional capacity of anywhere from 60 to 135 megawatts available during this period of time uh, through additional testing. If you recall, the payment for the additional testing period is about 4.9 million to Ukudu. However, the savings is somewhere about in the minimum of about maybe five to 4 point something to 5 million uh, for the period. Net of what we have paid to Ukudu. So as we go through, you have approved for us to petition the PUC with this, and of course, some changes here and there, including the availability of the machines, the arrangements that they had to make, which has cut down the period of time. And so therefore, that's why our minimum savings went from 5.1 or something to 4.4. But again, still a savings. So what we found out together with KEPCO is that we need to amend the ECA to provide for additional testing, because in the original contract, we just said GPA will not pay for anything during the testing period. And here now we're asking to make a deal. So the language is in here and in the resolution, Mr. Chair. And with your approval on Tuesday, we will bring that to the PUC at their Thursday meeting. And again, this is already on their agenda for the Thursday meeting. And so with their approval on Thursday, I can sign the agreement Friday, and the testing period goes into effect. Again, this is a big help for us, especially during this hot period. Even though without savings, as could be said, the capacity is worth a substantial amount to us and provide some relief to our capacity that's been really working real hard for how many years now. So. Uh, So that's it, Mr. Chair. It's really just a technicality for us to approve the ECA for the specific reason to allow us to contract with KEPCO for additional testing, paying for the additional testing during the period. So I'm open to questions, Mr. Chair.
Is there a way they give us wiggle room? We should have a good relationship with them that we can just pay for the output and not have to, offer them anything else. And, they're still under testing, and they should be rolling already the ball by this time.
Um,
They're able to,
I think they are already jumping hoops right now, because KEPCO has a subcontractor who has a subcontractor, so they all have to be in agreement, because we don't want to interfere with warranties or anything once the power plant is commissioned. So this is in effect a request from us. In fact, he kind of almost said no in the beginning, and I really wrote that back and said, please, you have
Help
to.
us.
We cannot have all this capacity on the island and still load shedding without making an effort to make it happen. So they did make an effort. So I think what we have today is really an agreement between all of them, and we just need to solidify it, and we're going to get the benefit. We're going to get the benefit of having this additional capacity, which will alleviate load shedding because of the right now we're going to the high peak months, right?
yes,
And still save money. After we pay them for the 4.9, we still save about $4 to $5 million minimum, because we're gonna try and operate them more on the combined cycle modes.
I just think if they're able to test it already at that capacity, they can work with us with where our need. That's a lot of money just for $5
You
million.
still gotta pay for
But
it. That's
still,
the
That's
nature.
net.
yeah,
That's net, meaning the savings from the fuel, because they're operating, we're gonna pay them the 5 million, and we're gonna still save
Yeah.
5 million. So if we don't do this, guess what? It's gonna cost us
More.
money. So it's better, it's a
And
win-win.
load shedding.
It's a, and load shedding. So it's a win-win-win scenario for everyone.
So
Yeah.
what happens in the event that you don't need it? What if you have capacity? Are you gonna use it or not?
No, we're gonna use it.
You're gonna use it whether you have the capacity to
Yeah.
operate or not.
That's great, because the efficiency is very efficient. That's how we're gonna get the savings, no?
Okay.
That's why we're saying minimum savings.
Mhm. And then you can rest a little
We're
bit.
gonna maximize the savings that we can.
So if you do that, what's that impact on the RFO supplies, and how would that extend your requirement to extend Traverse past January?
The reason why this is hot off the press is because it took us, Mr. Kim, I can show you, took us almost 10 days to figure this all out. There's so many variables. One, what capacities that we have, right, available. Two, when is the testing period with the new agreement, no? Three, the fuel oil prices. Four, how are we gonna burn out all this campers fuel, and add
If you utilize it.
by the end of the year and all of that. So we had to set up the model, play around with it and all of that, and this is how we came up. So we're gonna have to run, to be able to uh, shut cappers down, say by the middle of January at the latest. We have to run cappers continuously here in May, in June, and then we give her a break and run it in August. You gotta run 3 months of both units, and then you can get to January. If you don't, then we're gonna be into February, close to March, to burn out all the fuel. So you see all those variables, right? And so this is how we came up with that. And once we did that, then we could come up with the LEAC as to what the fuel prices would be.
And so our consent decree requires us to shut that unit down by what date?
By September 30, October, November, December, March 30.
Okay.
If we commission it on the 15th, then March 15th, 6 months after the commissioning. So we're gonna be able to do it. We have to buy a fuel in July to be able to get us past September or so. And because we have to do that, we have to burn it out. But we couldn't risk not having fuel, and already the fuel has been prepared to be purchased anyway, so.
So what is the resolution says that we may purchase the additional testing hours. So what is the testing hours that they're required to, per the original agreement? You don't pay for that. You only
No,
pay
no.
for anything in excess, right?
And we actually, it gave us the number of hours. We have,
What is it?
remember, it did decrease from 75 to 60 some days.
5 days,
Huh?
yes. Because the period was supposed to be March 1st through September 6th. I'm sorry, May 1st through September 6th, but since we're waiting for the PUC approval before we can actually get into this agreement, the period now is May 30th to September, or I think it was May 1st to August 20 something.
Yeah.
Now it's May 30th to
We're just
September
pushing the
6th.
dates.
Yes.
So we can get it through the PUC in 8 days?
Yeah, it is on the agenda. I mean, I won't, that's the
Next Thursday,
decision, but.
tomorrow.
So
I mean,
the
next week.
petition
Yeah.
for,
Next
the
week.
petition was for the approval for the energy support services that we approved what you approved in April.
Oh, okay.
But in order for us to get that approval, we need to have this ECA amendment done. So, PUC is aware of what we're doing to ensure that we're all compliant with all the contracts.
So
I
what do
just
you
want to be
propose?
clear. It's 4.9, and if we meet September, we still bonus them to 5?
No, that's a different,
No, I just want to be clear what kind of money we're.
yeah, because
we're talking about here.
the additional testing period ends before the 15th. before the 15th.
Okay,
The other period is if they don't commission by September 15, then they don't get the 1 million. If it's September 30, then, you know, if it's September 15, then that's the total 5 million that we agreed
we agreed
upon
on the original agreement.
to go from January to September.
Gotcha.
So there's no overlapping, Mr. Chair.
So the generation, we're running at a max capacity for the gas turbines right now to keep up now.
Pretty much there, when we hit
Oh,
the 265, we're
Yeah, that's
there.
still all right.
Yeah.
It's good to get those things rested up soon, so, because, you know, it's not really made to run all the time.
And
But
it's really during the
peak hours, yeah.
I just want to be clear, John, because I'm reading one of the things. This we okay? You're muted. Oh, he's muted. All right. Next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Third and last resolution is 2025-19, related to authorizing us to procure energy storage systems for energy shifting and grid services. And again, this is necessary to mitigate potential impacts to the island-wide power system with renewable projects which are intended to comply with the public law. And of course, with that public law, our GPA's commitment to 50% energy production from renewable energy sources by 2030. This energy storage system, we are seeking from ESS firm, energy storage system firms, to provide one 90 megawatt, 360 megawatt hour, meaning a 90 megawatt machine with enough battery storage to capture 360 megawatt hours to be released within a minimum of 4 hours period. And 180 megawatt, 90 megawatt hour energy storage capacity for grid services. As we grow more with load and also with more renewables, whether it's GPA through the phase 4 or rooftop, there has to be like what we have today, the 40 megawatt machine that we have brought, put in place in March. You have to be there to handle the integration of all these renewables, but furthermore, the grid services here controller, we're looking for something now that would control all of these machines to match the load in the best and most efficient way. And again, to allow for stability of the system. So some may say, well, renewables is just a plug and play. You just put in the renewables and put it into the system and grid. And that's not the case, no? So us to get to even beyond 50%, we're doing everything that we need to do between now and 2030 to protect the system, to make it go beyond 50%, but more importantly, to make sure that the 50% is stable and reliable and stable to the system. So the combination of these two is what we need to put on, and we're trying to get it on within 30 months, which will coincide with about the phase 4 renewable of KEPCO. The project is to again integrate more renewable and to shift the energy from rechargeable from solar. As we all know, solar is generated in the daytime from 7 o'clock to 6 p.m. in the evening. And that's what we call the dump curve. So we need to catch that energy to shift it to the evening hours to be able to serve people at night. And so we do have some energy storage batteries coming in with the KEPCO that we awarded, the 132 megawatt. solar plant has 67 megawatts of battery.
That's their batteries.
Yeah, for 4 hours. But that's only, you're correct, Mr. Chair, that's only used really
That's
for their
them, right?
product. What we need is
Our
to
own.
catch our own, to catch everything else from all the other renewables, from rooftop, because all these 37 megawatt from rooftop are going to the system in the daytime. And, we don't really need it in the daytime, we need it in the
It needs
evening.
by night.
So the batteries, like the centralized battery is gonna help us to do that, and I will show that in a minute, no? We are looking to put it in the 115 kV system so that we can move all
Oh,
throughout
yeah,
north
it's
or
good.
south of the system. Or furthermore, less line losses as a result of the higher voltage, no? We are looking for an annual fixed price, which is a 1% escalator. Again, similarly to all the other
Renewable
projects that we have, no? We don't want this thing going up with inflation of 2 or 3% because before we know it, right, our prices will be way up. And again, it's for 25 years with an option for an additional 5 years. So, sir, this will be like an IPP scenario. At the end, we don't want to own this machine because again, the life of batteries are 20, 25 years, no? At the end of 25 years or so, there'll be other technologies that may emerge that were probably more efficient or better than what we're getting today, no? So again, uh, we, the other thing is risk, failures of batteries for whatever reason, because they are evolving. We don't want to be in that risk, taking that risk at this point. So this would be an IPP scenario. The disposable batteries at the end of the period, we don't want to get involved at this point with that. We don't really know how they're going to dispose or what impact it may have at the end of this period. So again, uh, we'll be asking for your approval Tuesday, Mr. Chair. We will have the bid specifications completed by the end of the day tomorrow, so I will email it to the commissioners by
Okay, so
Saturday.
where?
Yeah. What?
The bidder must come with land?
Yes, they'll have to provide.
It
Because
doesn't
at the
matter where
end,
we put it?
it's gotta be tied into the one, close to the 115 system. So just like they do the renewables,
Uh-huh.
they have to provide
How much land are we talking about?
uh, somewhere around maybe 4 to 6 acres, something like that, maybe a little more than that.
The Kalope energy storage system in Hawaii is a similar size battery.
This is the one in Kauai?
In Oahu, yeah, and that's
Oh,
on
Kapolei.
that's
Okay.
KES. I'm very bad at
No,
pronouncing the
okay,
city.
this is right on Oahu, good.
Yeah, so that's on about 8 megawatt, that's about 8 acres.
Oh, okay. And who's the battery provider?
The battery provider is Plus Power. It's an integrator.
And
So they
Eco is the
provide,
owner?
so they package this together with
Okay.
Tesla batteries,
Tesla
and then
batteries.
they've provided all the control systems.
Okay.
So there'll be potentially, several components that have already bid on this. So I don't think we'll be short on proponents to bid. But yeah, they need to, the 115 is about, and we're looking for the north. As you may recall, we're really looking for 180 megawatts for the full term. I'm really just asking for 90 today. I've been putting it in all our efforts to try and get 180 megawatt for 5 hour battery. I've been asking to see whether we can get federal assistance on that, but that's not certain at this point. But we do need to move forward, and that's why I'm saying we gotta go 90. Hopefully we get federal assistance for the other 90, and stuff. But if not, we gotta at least get the 90 going, and I'll show you why in a minute. No, I have a short presentation that shows the
Yeah.
reason why we're doing all this and all of that. So here is sorry. Here's our peak demands over the past 4 years, and if you look at May 265, actually May is I mean, it's heading out there, and if you look at this chart here, the green, that's 2024. Look at the red, following the green, but about 10 megawatts higher every year. So we are growing. Now we're starting to see some of the low growth coming in here. So next. So as we move forward, we start talking about EOD growing. They want to put about 100 megawatts, close to 100 megawatts by 2033. The civilian community will also grow. So I'm thinking that some of these things start to solidify, I think the GPA may be growing somewhere around the 3%. No? So if you take 3%, right, and if you look at 2028, the load in 2028 will be 290. Today is 265. I think we may hit 270 or a little bit more this year. This is consistently running about 10 million higher than last year. Next. But again, wait, I don't. Again, what you have to notice again, the growth has come, has begun. The growth rate, we're continuing evaluating, because again, part of it is DOD and when are they coming in with those growth. There's a solar growth curve that must be managed effectively, and I'll show you that growth curve in a minute. And again, the infrastructure, supply chain, for system becomes at risk, no? Because I'd like to also note that in this thing, we're saying that there will be no China, North Korea, or non-friendly nation batteries provided.
Good.
No? It's very important because again, this is very key, and we're talking about cybersecurity and all of that. So this must not come from any adversarial countries. And again, we're going to be following what the DOD or others have done to ensure that unfriendly nations don't get involved into bidding into this scenario. So that's one of the requirements. Otherwise, you know, there's no guarantee we're going to be able to protect ourselves from this thing and all of that. So
Is that true for the current solar providers and the phase 4?
I don't know, I'm not sure. I don't think that was true for all of phase 4. But what is true about the phase 4 is that we made sure that the inverters that came in were not
They all bid Chinese inverters, and we told them, hell no. So they had them all switch.
Or what about the ESS?
The batteries, they have Chinese batteries, but we have a way of, through cybersecurity requirements to lock them down.
So
So why is it, I don't understand, if you're allowing it for phase 4 and the current
we gotta make a
not for
change
this, what's the
sometime, and
difference?
we don't want to take the risk of it anymore. And again, the other thing is, again, we just don't want to take the risk.
Especially with this, the
Conflicts in the future.
No,
How do we
I
miss
get
all of
it, I'm
that?
just
So-
trying to understand
No,
why this ESS is different than what you put out in
Well,
phase 4 and everything else.
we're actually looking into more and more, trying to get the whole policy done on that. Even transformers, wires, and other things. We just, again, this is something we have to do right now. And that's why, and we don't, and again, otherwise, just,
Yeah.
I don't, we won't.
it's good news to know that
That suit our purpose.
the US also have started mining in the US so that they don't depend on other countries to
So again,
manufacture this.
yeah, because, so that's part of the requirement, Mr. Chair. And again.
So John, just moving forward.
Up to the commission, whether, you know, they want, that's what they want or not, but I don't recommend it. No? Next. This is our journey. Again, Brandon, everything all the way to the Kepo Manila. And then we just awarded the Gpa 132 megawatt to be on the line in February 2028, and then we have some additional phase 4 that are under consideration today. So we could reach 53%. If everyone was awarded, just with Gpa being awarded, we'll have 30% by 2028, beginning 2028. Next. So here's the dot curve. I didn't start this, but it does look like a dot. So here is where we are today, 2025, right? We have a small dot curve. This is just the Gpa and the light path, right? 185 megawatts. Plus, there's a hidden dot curve here. There's a hidden dot curve here of about 37 megawatts of rooftop solar. It's hidden in there somewhere. And why is that? Because, but again, if you look at me, we have to back up over units here, but look what we have to do in the evening. We have to start everything up to serve that evening load. If we continue this, this is only at 250. If we continue this way, we get to 290. How many more units do we have every day? We have to start because we cannot run all those units, a little bit of a load here and there. It's not efficient, and secondly, it just costs us more money. We have to shut down units. When the Ukudu comes, the 132 megawatt Gpa comes on the line, it does have a 67 megawatt for our battery for shifting. This is the shifting here, this brownish color here. The dot curve is still there, but I increased it a little bit, you know, and here in the gray shift again. But it does shape the peak. So you see here now where we were going to be hitting 290 with conventional generators here. Here we're hitting 230. So therefore, all the other generators if we didn't add any more renewables, we can, we got a lot for load growth. So it's satisfying. That's why you're saying there's going to be a low growth in the island. They said bring it on. Because this is going to make it happen, this capacity here, So what we're going to do is whenever here, you're going to be backing off Ukudu. They're not going to be running at that top efficiency. So you're running maybe 10% less efficiency, But that's money here, right? So therefore, we want to catch this and catch this energy and again, reduce this blue, keep removing the blue downwards, Next. So this is what it would be like with the new centralized 90 megawatt for 4 hours. We have captured the yellow here and start using it in the light blue here. So now we reduce the peak from, we're servicing the peak from batteries and reduced from what we would have served with conventional energy at 290. We're now down to 180, almost 200, about 200 megawatts. So we reduced that almost 90 megawatts. That is 90 megawatts more capacity. We are getting not 190, but 245 megawatts.
So the prior duck curve is exclusive of the 90 megawatt bus? This is inclusive, but the prior slide was exclusive?
The 90 megawatt backup. This one is inclusive of this one plus the Gpa.
Okay, all right.
Because we went on there for phase 4, and again, this is all part of the journey for renewables. We wanted to ship 100%, but there is no one. The prices would have been over 20 cents a kilowatt hour. From what we understand from proponents coming in. So we had to levelize it down to say, we're not going to be more than 17.9. And that's when and that was a trade-off at 50% shifting,
So it's not a duck anymore, it's Mount Lam Lam and on Sasalagan after, like a mountain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the,
We can rename it.
Yeah,
so again, to effectively manage this, so what happens here, look at now this conventional unit, now we can run Ukudu at least at a stable load throughout, at the maximum efficiencies that we can get. And the next unit now, the more you reduce that peak where the conventional at the run, now you're only running, with this, you're only running Ukudu and PD8 and 9. You don't get down to the more inefficient combustion turbines or other thing. Ukudu produces at about 20 plus kilowatt hours per gallon and PD9 15.5. Then of course there's a little bit of diesels, which is 14, but then you go to 9 kilowatt hours, 11 and 9 kilowatt hours. So the more you use the conventional that we have, then the more expensive, the more the higher the VI, no? Yes.
So JB, real quick, or, go ahead and finish and then I'll ask.
Yeah. So again, what we're looking for the 180 is 445 megawatt, not 190, but 245. So then at least if one is out, we still have 45 megawatt. Batteries are very efficient, 98, 99%, maybe more. Give you an idea, MEC 8 and 9, their availability is about 90%. Cameras 1 and 2, 85%. Batteries are 98, 99% available. So much more reliable. So again, we're looking for centralized to improve reliability, reduce our costs. Most especially as a hedge for world events. We're looking, of course, we do have 34.5. We're going to 115 into substations down to 34.5. We have underground lines from 34.5. So anytime really, even after storms, we can use this going into those. What we're looking, again, we want to do some underground stuff and to give you the total picture. But really, the 90 megawatt will be feeding into existing most likely Harmon substation, because that's where the 115 is closest to. Anywhere in the north portion, it will go to Harmon. Tie-in is 115 down to 34.5. That will be used. Highest 115 to carry, like the train, and then from the train, the 34.5 is the tractor trailers to bring the supply, and then go down to the distribution to the. So again, we're bringing it in with the 115 down to the transmission, to the major distribution centers, and then future. And again, there are 4 increments that we should be in the north again to supplement those centers, including a bit kind of see whether we can get some money from DOD to rise in very close to Anderson Air Force Base, Marine Base, and everything, so they could provide them really excellent quality. And not only that, one of these batteries can run Anderson Air Force Base for about close to 1 day without any other generators running. So we're still working on that, but we can't wait for, we've been working on this for 2 years now. I don't see certainty yet, so that's why I'm,
It's in the 2010 long range
we have to get
transition.
moving. And then lastly, one down in the south, maybe Kenzo's or next to the Ukudu, a new solar farm, so that you can serve the southern part of the island, plus the Navy base one. After a storm, can also be utilized as a part of a smart grid. We can separate the north and the south after a storm. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Can that 4 to 5 acres fit on our campus property? Big enough.
And we
Yeah,
got that
potentially,
one
but,
pipeline.
for this one, we're not going for the side. yet.
John, I'm just thinking ahead because
Yeah.
you owe us a plan on how to take out cameras 3 and 4.
Mhm.
We have to
Well,
get
not-
rid of those places, so
Not on that land, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
why not?
They're next to the fuel farm.
Okay, that's across the street.
Yeah.
What about, what about our cameras part?
Remember, we were gonna put the 44 megawatts? We can
Right.
do that. What we wanna do is clean up that whole area, and of course, it will be the decision of the CCU. Do we find some kind of revenue source for that area, or something like that? No? I mean, first of all, PA 9 and 10 is still there, but the
Correct.
campus area, do you wanna find a lease out?
That's what I'm
leave it to
thinking,
the
at least.
Commissioners?
If the battery provider's looking for land, have them lease our land.
So
Because
again,
every other place you're looking at, you're gonna require the battery provider to look for land. We have land.
Yeah, we have to.
I'm just putting it out there, I mean,
We
you
have
know.
the towers there.
we won't own the land at the end, where at the end, they're not transferring it to anyone, it's just like the other renewables.
Okay,
So again, so if we decide or whatever to have something that we're gonna own, perhaps, no? But again, right now we can look at that more, Mr. Chair.
yeah.
Right now we're dealing with the north and.
So when do you wanna put this out? As soon as possible?
We're actually approval on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to the PUC, we're looking at September.
Now, let me circle back, what's gonna happen with our Hanwha project?
Because they didn't the waterway, we already got the.
No, are we going back out, or is
No.
that 45 or whatever?
Then we have, the phase 4.
Right,
So that will handle that. What we have to do now is settle in, get this other stuff, and then
and
maybe
go back on that.
next year, sometime in 2026. Because the other thing that this could do with the batteries, then we can go out for just renewables with only a smaller battery just for, and therefore reduce that, from the 17 cents to maybe 15, 13, something like that. So this is by having a centralized battery, you can dispatch it for all purposes. It's just that battery for every power purchase agreement is really only used for their purposes to deliver. Any other time is just sitting there. No? So this will be,
You still got some more?
yeah, a little bit more works, almost done. Sorry, next. Okay, so what would it cost to run? Again, 90 megawatt, 360. Second one is 180, 90. This is for grid services and controlling the renewables. Right now, under regular convention, you usually have an automatic generation control, which is the conductor for the whole thing. This is what we need now. Probably 180 million, maybe an annual cost of 18. When we take that, because this is centralized, every peak, if you go on the LEAC portion, you're looking at maybe around a 1 cent impact on the LEAC. A 1 cent impact on the LEAC for such a huge reliability, potential for growth and everything is really very insignificant. Next. Again, here's the graph, where we're looking to serve the north, the 115 of Sherwood goes all the way to the south also, but again, why the north? Because again, most of our growth there, including the hospitals, airport, all of that. Next. Here's our 115 kV that really start anywhere from the south at the Portland Green, we want to get it closer to the north right here. And this year, we can feed it down south. Eventually, again, we can put one here in the southern area to most closely service this area, especially after a storm or anything like that. Because again, we're looking at 4 winds next. Again, this was in our journey. We commissioned cameras, take a Okudu. Well, we still get cameras. Commission Okudu. Again, we're also changing out state-of-the-art relays. We've changed out close to 50%, I think, we have to finish the rest. To faster reacting relays, because if we don't have all of these things, anything could happen in the system and the breakers don't open fast enough and it dumps the system and blackouts. So all of this are very important to getting to 50% renewable. Here we are in battery storage, grid controller, and later on we're looking still at what they call synchronous condensers. Synchronous condensers are what they utilize to make sure that the system has enough very technical inertia engineering, all of that to be able to trip. Like today, we really have not had blackout in since 2012, right? So we want to make sure this is balanced so that we're able to trip breakers and keep a steady state. So that's again coming up in the future, synchronous condensers. And again, we have to get all of this smooth, really reliable and everything before really we can hit between 2030 and about next. Again, why? Because grid services will also provide spinning reserve. Spinning reserve is when you have other generators on the line in case one breaks down. You have enough to keep maybe the power on, or you have to bring in fast track really right away to service that load. A battery is just sitting there during the critical times as a spinning reserve. You're not expending energy, you're not running other machines at inefficiency. So there are savings and benefits for a spinning reserve. We'll also continue to look for funding, most especially for the additional 90 megawatts. Again, our units are 30 plus years old, so at some point we'll be looking at retiring some of the units. We're just saying holding off now because of the growth. No, we don't know how prices go. We don't want to get into the load shedding position again. And again, so having the desk to provide capacity for growth, provide lower cost renewable purchase agreement in the future by requiring them to have less shifting batteries if possible. No? And again, this will alleviate the need for batteries on rooftop. We can really have this 2,700 rooftop solar customers that they'll put in all those batteries. And how do what's the issue of how do you environmentally get rid of them at the end of their life? The GPA, the centralized energy battery, everyone just paid for this battery and stuff, and we this because it's happening right now. They don't have batteries, and at the end, our peak is higher. Next, one more. Yeah. I have just a quite one supplemental, and if I may just finish this, and then this is hot off the press, so I think we have copies for you, and then we will also upload it into the workbooks. Again, it's just a re-emphasis and the reason why. Is there more information?
Thank you.
As to the benefits and why we need this. Next. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
No worries. John could just walk us through it. You don't need to do the presentation. It's okay.
Yeah, it's just so that the.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's just see it.
Yeah.
But if not, I'll go ahead.
To see if I can rehash of what we already covered.
Yeah, I know.
Good. So again, just a summary, here's our doctor today with all Gpa. In 2028, we go up to 290 with the same solder that we had, less of a doctor. But again, all the conventional units have to be running and all that. Here is it with Gpa. We reduce the need for conventional units by over 60 megawatts, and we have a doctor. Next. Here it is now with the black being the centralized battery, you're distributing all that energy through the daytime. The rest is what you get with Gpa, and now you're levelizing the conventional generation. Next. Again here, this is what happens with the conventional generators. You're running 200 some megawatts, and then you have to go down close to 50 megawatts. You have to really almost come to an idle, not very efficient, right? And so this is what the conventional unit does do. You levelize it around 150, so at least you're at a higher level of efficiency. Next. Let's take a look at what it does in costing. Here is our renewable contracts. And if you look at power to 2028, these are the different prices. When you look at the different prices, our renewable contract will be averaging 15 cents a kilowatt hour in 2028. But again, part of it is because it's only a 1% escalator, so even this one's not going to really change much. And look at the prices of the other conventional units. $100 barrel, of course, is still very cheap, 11.6. PV 8 and 9 is about 15.5, 15.3 cents a kilowatt hour. And diesels, this is the Genjo diesels, which is like 20 megawatts, 34 megawatts, 17 cents. Then when you have to start going to Machechi, G2, and Devivo, you're running to the 20 some. So you don't want to get where you have to run all these conventional, inefficient conventional units. What happens when it goes to 125? It was still cheaper than the renewables, but then everything else are jumping 19 to 35 cents. And so that's why with the energized battery and Opal, it's kind of trying to show that really, even when the oil prices start to go up there, our production supply still becomes affordable, and we're not going to get to where we had just come from. Next, I think that's it. No? So just added that just again to prove at least even in my mind, that what we have planned and what we're putting together is actually working as we had set up. So I'm ready to answer any questions on this, Mr. Chair.
Can you go back a couple of slides?
Sure.
On this one?
Yeah, on this one's fine. I have one question here. So can you talk a little bit about the impact of the BESS and the renewables on the LNG case study? Because now you're expediting your renewable impact, right? Which makes the case for LNG less favorable.
You go back to the docker. The docker. The conventional unit we're levelizing it, no? By doing this, 50% of the energy means 50% renewable and then 50% conventional. By having the BESS, it allows you to put actually maximize. Right now, you're not running Ukudu with a full 198 as a unit. But as you grow in load, and you're not adding more renewables, because we're already trying to get, stay around the 50% to get, then that will start to come up. I think if I do remember correctly, when they did take this into consideration in the forecasting of the LNG product. So they're still around 50% conventional, whether it's diesel or natural gas. They're still so what they have put together, I believe, is consistent with where we're heading with renewables up to the 50%.
Well, what they put together, the best case scenario was that your actual renewal penetration is delayed. And that made the best case for LNG. Now you're saying you're gonna bring on BESS and you're going to store that now, right? So now the LNG case is more like, if you actually achieve your goals.
We're not
it's
changing
less.
the supply portion, I think. I think when they went out,
But you're running it less than
they
peak.
went out to like, correct me if I'm wrong, it went out to like, beyond the 2030, no? Because it was only the first pipe. So he's saying the LNG case, of course, becomes more feasible, right? When you have more conventional energy production, right? But it's still feasible with the plan that we put together. Now, I have to relook at it again, refresh my memory, but I think we had given them what our plan is, and it's in accordance with the phase 4.
That's what I'm saying, is that if you executed your plan, the case study for LNG makes it less, less
No,
favorable.
not this plan. Maybe more and more integration of more renewables, because with the BESS, I'm not adding supply. I'm just taking the supply, which is the solar in the daytime, and shifting it more evenly so I can get the other units operating more efficiently. And that efficiently, of course, provides some incremental savings, no? But not a huge, like, ito na, Ukudo came on, for example, phase 4, if all of phase 4, when the 132 megawatts comes online, that's 300,000 barrels a year less oil, 300,000 barrels a year less LNG BTU. See? So the more, of course, you add chunks like that, then the demand. Now, of course, what is the growth, no? Because that's another part of the factor. So I believe they looked, I have to relook at that.
Yeah, just on Tuesday, if we can just make sure we answer the question.
Uh,
How does it impact the case study for LNG? That's the question.
Yeah, because again, irrespective of whether LNG will go forward or not, uh, this is the one that's going to provide to make sure that the 50% is stable, reliable, and all of that. So we can dump the LNG, but we can, in my mind, we have to put in the best systems. And now but I will double check on the numbers to make sure that they did consider all of this in their economic model.
Yes.
And then the last question is just regarding the whole, cybersecurity thing with this BESS system, right? Is, what, you already had phase 4 with the energy shifting batteries coming online as well. So, what is the impact on those units? I mean, you made it a point to say that it's critical, but I mean, you're gonna
Well,
have.
the phase 4 is not a Chinese battery. No?
They've got Chinese batteries, but they don't have Chinese inverters.
For example, the one we have awarded is not Chinese battery.
And then they need to follow our requirements in managing the batteries.
Moving
The other
forward,
thing,
Wait. John Cruz, go back. Walk us back, because that's a concern. The phase 4 batteries that we now have in place, some of them are Chinese.
Yes.
But we, according to you, have properly protected ourselves.
There's ways to
what-
protect ourselves
okay,
against
okay.
that.
But moving forward,
We don't want to take that risk.
okay, and we're mitigating it by not having outside batteries as opposed to. Now, does that raise our cost?
It should.
Yeah, I mean, just.
It might.
Yeah, but then
Might.
this is
John,
a.
we understand the risk.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
mitigating risk. That's the important part. When-
Yeah, most likely it'll raise because again,
Yeah,
with cheaper and again,
cheaper
Depends on the
comes at a
contract.
price, sir. We
it
know
comes
that.
to the price and
Yeah.
secondly, what about support services? What about so and so, all of that?
Those are all known things and I'm glad you're
Yeah.
addressing that, John, because, quite frankly, any supply chain issue that we have with our friends, our unfriendly state of the site just basically cripples us. We all know that, so I don't think it's incumbent on our part. We need to do our job too.
Yeah,
When
and,
DOD is our largest customer, they can hold a heavy hand on us. And
yeah,
they should.
we're re-looking at everything right now
Right.
and really we had to start with this one. That's one.
Okay.
And take a bold step to say, hey, I can't. It's-
But you do have a good point, John. We need to talk to, again, our DoD partners and say, we need your help on, for example, putting one battery within your proximity.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
We
the,
tried that already, so.
so the cost analysis you did was based on this, the specifications for this battery that you're looking at?
Yep.
So and that results in a 1 cent increase in the lead?
So even if you go a little cheaper, it's not a significant
Right.
change. And the LEAC now is,
Truck
okay,
calves, we don't know what they.
John, let me,
Yeah.
I think are 13 cents, no, or it's not significant.
Right.
In the, so if you take it, case in point, $18 million, no? And so we save $2 million or $3 million for the year, né? But our total amount, no, fuel component and everything is about, will still be around 200 million. So it's really a small incremental
So-
thing. So, but for the reliability that we're trying to ensure and the technical support and everything else. né?
So John, what are your expectations? Walk me through the scenario again with the LNG study, which was asked of us by the PUC. We now give it to them, and then what happens?
Uh,
I mean, what are your expectations? Because it's the only alternate fuel source we have.
right now, I'd like to digest it a little bit more, Mr. Chair, and then
Yeah.
come back to you with a recommendation. I know that we had to take all the first steps, right? Which
Yeah,
is
because they
getting those-
asked us to do it.
So the next step now, either both CCU and PUC approve, will now begin where I'm at today, which is to prepare the bids, like we did the power plant.
Yeah,
Prepare the
yeah.
bid specification. So I'm not there yet, and we'll.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering after the PUC asked us to do this, again, I think what's gonna just, in my side, just blow my mind if they say, hey, thank you very much for your study. Knowing full well that we had planned a generator to be able to burn dual fuel.
No, I think, again, the, I think the study said it's still feasible. no?
Yeah,
Now, maybe the savings may not be as much, but it's
Right.
still feasible. So we'll take a look. And stuff, but,
okay.
yep. I'll have to come back, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
no, again, John,
I've been paying attention more to
The-
this
the-
other stuff.
the- Yeah, I'm not sure, again, we have our priorities and how do they align with PUC?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, all right. Anything else, colleagues? Commissioner Dueñas?
I know we've been mentioning about decommissioning in Cabras, but I just like to see soon or in the future, the inventory or maybe a master plan. How do we? There's a lot of money inside the plant, millions and millions of dollars with the inverters, transformers, generators, pumps, with auxiliaries, breakers. I think if we can make a lot of money bidding those things out, maybe other islands can use it, but we do have a lot of things inside that things, just the wires and the coppers and stuff. But there's we have boiler feed pumps and force draft fans that are big pumps. I just like to see a plan in the future. How do we roll that back so that we can get some money back to the system, and if we can pass it to the ratepayers, that'd be nice. It's just rather than just close it up. But it's something that we can start looking at. I think that'll be appreciated.
They're working on the decommissioning and retirement plan. And once we get that all together, we'll bring it to you. So.
Thank you.
That's it, Mr. Chair, unless anyone,
No,
any
good.
other
Anything
question,
Right.
I'm happy
Motion
to
to
say
adjourn.
that, we,
Good job.
PD number 8 came back, 2 days ago.
That's on capacity, right?
So that helped us with another 42 megawatts, and so we're not sweating as much today as we
We
were.
could run it.
And then also, Ukudo has been helping. So
Good.
it's such a nice feeling, get to have that.
Keep up the good work, team.
I know the atmo is quite deep.
I need to clarify, we do need to fix something on that 8, so
Yeah.
we'll do that tomorrow.
So it's like that though, up and down.
As long as we don't get the load shedding notices coming out.
We're really trying not to do
No,
that.
no, again, it,
Are we quiet down on the chicken situation? Did we solve that problem?
no. All right,
So good.
motion to adjourn. Please. So moved. All right, thank you very much, John.
You guys want these back?
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We're gonna upload it.
You want to sign for the?
No, I just need to acknowledge.
Whenever
that-
again.